The items you do and don't decide to put into your backpack have the power to make or break your Camino. After this video, you will have the exact packing list that took me 2 Caminos to perfect. For even more Camino de Santiago advice, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new episode every Thursday. Hi, I'm Alex, and on my blog, Backpacking Brunette, I have written numerous posts about walking the Camino de Santiago. I spill the tea on all the mistakes I've made, a lot of which had to do with packing, so hopefully you won't make the same ones. Make sure to watch until the end of this video when I will share my essential non-essentials that will make your life on the Camino so much easier. Now, packing light and packing right starts with choosing the right backpack, and I cannot say enough good things about the Osprey Kite 36. Now, this 36-liter backpack is designed specifically for a woman's frame. The men's option is the Kestrel 38. And in my opinion, you do not need a backpack bigger than 36 or 38 liters for your Camino. I want to touch on a few features that I love about the Osprey Kite 36. First, the padded hip belts are super comfy, and I love that they have zippered pockets for storing frequently used items like your phone or your wallet, so you don't have to take off your whole pack when you need to get to them. I also really love that it has an integrated rain cover. So on the Portuguese Camino, when it started to drizzle, I could just unzip the rain pouch and pull it over my backpack. Both these Osprey packs are linked in the description below, and throughout this video, when I mention a specific product, I will go ahead and put the link in the description. Just know that these links are affiliate links, which means that if you choose to purchase them through this link, I might make a small commission at no extra cost to you. Of course, I would never ever even dream of recommending a product that I am not fully in love with myself. Next up is a sleeping bag. If you plan in staying in albergues along the Camino, then you better have a sleeping bag on your packing list. Otherwise, you'll just be sleeping on top of a bed bug protector. If you're walking during the warmer months, maybe in the height of summer, you might be able to get away with a $20 sleeping sack. But if you're walking later in the fall or maybe in the winter, you might want something a little more heavy duty. When I walked the Portuguese Camino in October, I opted for a sleeping bag that was good for down to 0 degrees Celsius. I was never cold at night. In fact, a few nights I was too warm, especially when the albergues were really crowded. Let's talk shoes. Now, in complete transparency, perhaps you've heard me mention this before, but I absolutely hated my first Camino. Now, there were a lot of different factors contributing to that, but I think one of the primary reasons was that I chose the wrong footwear. I wore traditional hiking boots and they were just not appropriate for the route. So my second Camino, I actually opted for a road running shoe from a brand called Ultra. I love the zero drop design, which means that they're not elevated in the back, so it's more natural for your foot. Also, the toe is very wide, and I think that helped me to avoid blisters onto the Camino. Another thing that really surprised me about these shoes is how long they kept my feet dry. Now, the Portuguese Camino in October can be a very rainy route. There were a few days where I was out in the rain for 7 or 8 hours, and while my feet weren't completely dry the whole time, these shoes did hold up a lot longer than my walking companion's Nikes. Almost as important as the shoes that you choose are what you wear under them. And yes, I am talking about socks. One of my proudest achievements, that's kind of strange to say, but I am very proud of this, is the fact that I didn't have a single blister when I walked the Portuguese way. Another pilgrim recommended that I buy Injinji toe socks. And they're kind of weird. The first time that you put them on might feel a little strange, but the way that they separate your toes and keep them from rubbing, it just can't be beat. So every day I would wear the thin Injinji toe socks, And over top of those, I would wear a pair of Belega hiking socks. And I really liked this because they were cushy, but still breathable. Moving on to hiking clothes. I packed 2 pairs of leggings, 1 full length and 1 capri length, 2 hiking shirts. There are a lot of options for these. I recommend something comfy, breathable, quick dry, and if you want to upgrade, think about getting something with SPF in it. Because both of my hiking shirts were short sleeved, I knew I wanted a long sleeved warm layer to wear over top. I went with a turtleneck from Colombia. It was super soft. I loved that it had thumb holes, which made it even more comfy for wearing. And I also really liked that it was quick dry, which meant that even if it got sweaty during the day, it was usually dry by the time I got out of the shower and I could put it on again when I was lounging around the albergue in the evening. Thinking about items that you can layer is really essential to packing light on the Camino. If you'd like to see a whole video about my tips for packing light on the Camino, comment below with packing light tips so I know to make one. Back to the layers, I also had a rain jacket, which I would wear in the morning for warmth. Now, same with the shoes, nothing is 100% waterproof, but the rain jacket that I had from North Face, it kept me pretty dry. I also really liked that it could wrap up into the hood, which made it really easy for storage. Since I personally don't like sleeping in leggings, I also brought a pair of running shorts, which I would put on post-shower, wear in the evenings in the albergues, and then sleep in. If you're wondering what I wore on top, I would just wear whichever one of my hiking shirts was clean. Finally, since you are going to be showering in the communal showers in the albergues, you're going to want to have a pair of shower sandals, something waterproof that's easy to wear and comfortable. I brought flip-flops, but looking back, I wish I would have brought something more like my walking buddy Vanessa's Birkenstock sandals. Now, they're waterproof, they're super, super comfortable, and I really loved that they didn't have the thong between your toes, so they're much easier to wear socks with when it was cold in the evenings in the albergues. Now for toiletries, I'm not going to go into every single item since it's pretty much what you would expect. But if you would like to see the complete list of everything that I brought with me on the Camino, you can check out the blog post that I wrote about my Camino de Santiago packing list. The link is in the description. A few items though that I wanted to highlight are a 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, Vaseline, and cleansing towelettes. The most important thing to remember is that the Camino is not backcountry camping. You are going to be regularly walking through towns and cities, past pharmacies, past grocery stores, so when you run out of something, or if you realize there's something that you need, you will always be able to get it. Here are some other essential items that you are going to want to include on your Camino de Santiago packing list. First up is a poncho. You've heard me say that nothing is really waterproof. Well, that is except for a poncho. Next up, earplugs and a sleeping mask. You are going to need these if you want to get any good sleep at all in an albergue. Clothespins and safety pins. Both of these are very small items. They won't take up a lot of room in your pack, but they have a myriad of uses. Reflective tape. If you plan on getting an early start, walking before the sun comes up, then you want to make sure that you have reflective tape. So cars, when you're walking along the side of the road, because yes, parts of the Camino are along sides of roads or highways, you want to make sure that cars are able to see you. Your Camino de Santiago packing list should also include a quick dry towel. The albergues aren't going to have one for you. As far as medical supplies, I recommend having Band-Aids, adhesive tape, and ibuprofen. It's also never a bad idea to have a small tube of antibiotic ointment. Remember, you'll be passing through towns and villages. If you need anything else, you will be able to pick it up at a pharmacy. Lots of pilgrims swear by Compeed for blisters, but again, I didn't have any on my Camino, and if you go for the same shoes and socks that I did, maybe you won't either. Rounding out the essentials for your Camino de Santiago packing list are a hat, something that won't blow off of your head, an adapter. This is important if you're coming from outside of Europe so you can charge your electronics, sunglasses, so your eyes are shaded and you look cool, and finally, Ziploc bags. Bring them in a variety of sizes. I particularly liked having a few of the big ones. I would keep all my clothes in one, my sleeping bag in another, and a smaller one, I used that one for my wallet and my passport and my pilgrim's passport. So even when it was raining, even if some water got into my backpack, I knew that all of those things were safe and dry. Now for the moment that you've been waiting for, my non-essential Camino essentials. First up is a hairdryer. And wait, hear me out on this one. Now, I didn't pack a hairdryer when I walked the Portuguese Camino, but my buddy Vanessa did, and we were the envy of the albergues. Not that we were using it on our hair. Vanessa had a small, teeny tiny, compact travel hairdryer, and after those rainy days on the Camino, we used it to dry our shoes out, dry our clothes out, and people were lining up in the albergues asking if they could borrow it. The next item is a compression pillow. If you plan on staying in albergues and getting a good night's sleep is still really important to you, then you might want to consider bringing along a travel pillow, because the ones in the albergues, they aren't that great. This next item, I almost put it under the essentials because that's how much it came in handy on my last Camino, but this was not something that I packed. My buddy Vanessa had this. It was a collapsible Tupperware container, and we used it so much for so many different things on the Camino. We would pour olives into it for lunch on the trail. We would pack up leftovers at dinner to eat the next day. It really came in handy, and again, did not take up a lot of room. Next up is a headlamp. Now this is probably a little controversial because many Camino packing lists say this is essential, but here I am, I have survived 2 Caminos and not used one. However, that being said, a headlamp, it would be useful because using your phone as a flashlight really isn't all that convenient. Finally, a journal and a pen. I would say that this is much more important than a headlamp, so if you are deciding between the two, go for the journal and the pen because you will be so grateful that you documented your Camino. This will be very important because when you reach Santiago de Compostela, the processing of your experience is only beginning, and you will want to reflect on your experience so you can really figure out what your Camino meant to you. Last but not least, here are a few items you don't need to include on your Camino de Santiago packing list. Nice clothes. Even when you make it to Santiago de Compostela and you're out on the town celebrating, it's fine to still wear your hiking clothes. Most of the people that you will see out are also pilgrims and will also be wearing their dirty, grungy Camino gear. Water sanitizing pills. The tap water in Spain, the tap water in Portugal, the tap water in France, all of it is safe to drink. Don't bother with these pills. Physical maps or guidebooks. Now, these are very nice to have during the planning process, but once you're actually on the Camino, I recommend having all of this information on your phone. So if you decide to buy a guidebook, go ahead and get it through Kindle. If not, there are lots of blog posts out there. I've written some of them detailing the stages, so you can just follow those as your guide. Makeup. I understand wearing makeup is a comfort thing for a lot of people, but look at the Camino as an opportunity to hit the reset button, to just be natural and be you. Now you know what to pack and what not to pack for the Camino de Santiago, but what about training? If your busy schedule has you worried that you won't be able to walk the Camino, then you need the Pilgrim Approach. Head to the link in the description for this completely free resource. Thanks for watching, and buen camino. Check out these videos next for more advice on how to prepare for the Camino de Santiago. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it with all your Camino crazy friends.